Hi, I'm Anna Chlumsky, and I'm in studio with The Hollywood Reporter.
Thanks so much for dropping by.
Thanks
It's
for having
Veep's, of course. Thanks for being here.
Gratitude and abundance.
It's Veep's final season, and to celebrate, we made a little clip.
God bless you.
Let's take a look back at the last 7 years.
Oh my gosh.
What do you think of Dan?
Oh, Dan is a shit.
I don't have time to ignore you, Jonah. Gary, could you please ignore Jonah for me?
If she'd wanted me to sign your name, she would have done this.
Take him to the yogurt store.
Because you are gonna get rid of him, you're gonna kill him, and you're gonna do life for murder, and I never have to see your face again.
Do you know what happens with all that shit, Amy?
Does it get used in a clumsy and unpleasant analogy by you?
Really, Amy? Because I've met some people, okay? Real people. And I got to tell you, a lot of them are fucking idiots.
I don't have any children. I have a niece, but I fucking hate her.
I love Italian, Jonah, but still, unfortunately, really dislike you.
Wow, that was great.
Flew by.
Nostalgic. So many memories.
I have not a one. I'm kidding.
Now, before the final season started, I actually went back and watched the pilot episode.
Uh-huh.
And when you watch it from the beginning, you see that with every show it evolves, obviously. But it does have the heart and kind of the intent of what it was always meant to be.
Yes,
Can you kind of talk about that in your first memories from the first day on set?
Oh, wow. First day on set. Yeah, we were in that hall that I believe we even start the series in the pilot, where we're going to the meeting about clean jobs, and no one's there, and she's like, no one's here, and Gary says, that's okay, just mingle, and she's like, you can't mingle with this few people. Did Simon mingle with Garfunkel? And it's hilarious, and I don't know, it's very much the Armando Iannucci style of that time, because it's that comedy that comes from just living. Yeah. It's a quiet sort of comedy, and very fly on the wall, and I think even at that time when we were shooting it, those of us who hadn't worked with Arm before were sort of like, because he doesn't even do marks. Yeah. He doesn't show, like you just go, like you just and then they follow you. You basically, what he does is he creates a life, and then he shoots a documentary. So it's not documentary style as much as it's actually documentary. And that was very new for like Julia and for Tony, and so there was a lot of like me going, no, it's gonna work out. Don't worry about it. It's gonna be really good. Like, yeah.
When you first worked with him In the Loop, did you ever think you guys would re-team for kind of a political satire?
I don't think I thought that we would, just because I think I was very bleak about most hopes in my life at that time. But yes, I certainly hoped I would. To the point where, even after I booked Veep and we filmed the pilot, I went back and I was cleaning through things, and I found an old journal. It was a journal from very, right before I booked it, that said, like, can't I just work for Armando Iannucci again? Please, that's all I want.
That is so great.
And I kind of had forgotten that I wrote that somewhere.
Have you shown that to him, or?
I haven't shown him, but I've told him.
Yeah.
I don't know if he remembers.
That's so great.
I didn't tell him then. I didn't. Yeah, I told him after everything.
You should have brought it to like the rap party or something.
Yeah, I have no idea where it is.
Yeah.
it's lost again. I'll have to clean again.
But you wrote it down, so that's
write it
important
down
thing.
Somewhere.
Now, over the years, what have been some comments that have stuck out to you from real politicos about kind of the show and what it's done?
I think I was just always so proud and kind of gratified by any staffers that I knew who found it to be like therapy, because that's what they would say. They're just like, this is like therapy, like watching this show, and it's very much because I think we were showing the pitfalls of their life, and allowing them to laugh about it. So for
you, what would you say, I guess, has been the wildest real life moment that kind of Veep did first? Has there been one?
Well, what sticks out to me is when we did an episode where Selina goes, she's Veep, and we went, and she goes on Meet the Press, and she makes a gaffe, and then, 9 months later when it airs, it was the same week that Biden went on Meet the Press and let it spill that their whole administrative policy believed in same-sex marriage, which he wasn't meant to say. Yeah. Thank goodness he did, but he wasn't meant to.
During filming, what has stood out to you, I guess, about kind of filming this during wild political times that we're in?
You mean since the selection, since it's changed over?
Yeah. Matt Walsh was in here recently, and he said kind of bringing the show to a close kind of came down to you couldn't really match what was going on right now, and
Right. Well, you wouldn't want to. I mean,
Yeah.
this is we really felt like we were in I don't know, important position because we had already set ourselves up for about 5 seasons where what we do for a living on this show is examine the political realm and is examine human behavior via politics, and that's what satirizing politics is. And so nothing has been off limits for us. And so, you know, when the election went the way it did and it changed so much of the energy of this country, I think, you know, while we all had to, as individuals and people, kind of breathe and just gather your wits again and all that, just like everyone, I think that we had an outlet that I think a lot of, you know, people don't necessarily have, where it's like, well, we want to ask all these questions. Oh, we have a platform on which to do that.
Yeah.
We're not a parody machine at all. Like, and there are many, you know, wonderful, and that's also important in this, you know, we have to be able to poke fun. And there are plenty of programs that do that and do it really well. And they take very specific individuals and poke fun at that individual. What we're interested in is skewering the entire system and, you know, and just putting that under the bright lights and figuring out why people behave the way they do, especially when it comes to government and politics. And so so it's reflected the culture, but, you know, we're not the first. This administration is not the first totalitarian administration that the world has ever seen. It's just the first time we've seen it this way. So it's so, you know, I just feel like it broadened us and it kind of made us have to play in extremes that we never thought we'd have to before. But in no way did it sort of change our modus operandi. You know what I mean?
now when the final season opens, Amy is obviously pregnant and considering abortion.
Yeah.
How does this kind of story take center stage throughout the rest of the season? What can you tease about it? And
I mean, I do feel like Amy's arc by the end of the whole series really feels very satisfying to me as the person playing it, but also as you know, I'm the type of actor who really believes in, you know, writing a play and reading a play and seeing a play and going, well, why this story, right? There's a reason to tell this portion of this person's life. And in a series like this, there are many characters to ask that question of. And so for me as the player of Amy, I was really gratified that I got to sort of connect all those dots from day one to last, where I could be like, oh, this is this moment. This described, all of these 8 years described this part of Amy's journey. So
And bringing Amy's story full circle, you said that her name was originally going to be Anna. Is that what
it was
happened
really
there?
originally Anna, and then when I got the job, it was Arm called me and said, well, we're going to change the character's name to Amy because we want you to play it. So I'm like, oh.
That's so good.
Yeah, it was really cool.
In her pregnancy, Selina's reaction to it is very Selina.
Yeah.
I have the quote she said down. What she says about Dan is, "What were you wearing? A full-length mirror."
Full-length mirror.
That's
Hilarious. I know. I like it when Dan gets the insult.
Yeah. And then when she told you, I should have fixed you years ago. Were there other reactions she had
I
that
didn't
didn't?
remember that. It's so much funny.
It's so
That's
funny.
funny. Yeah.
Were there other reactions that she had that didn't make the cut?
I'm sure there were.
Yeah.
I couldn't even possibly remember because we do so many alternative takes.
Okay.
We call them alts. There were definitely things, I'm sure.
Throughout the show, there were so many like one-liners and insults. Is there a docket of kind of unused one-liners and insults that you guys
Someone's
have?
got them. Tim tells this great story about, like, I guess one of our writers, I'm not going to tell it well because I shouldn't speak for somebody else, but I do. But I guess one of our writers had, like, just from the moment they started on the show, just a list of tall jokes, and they would just, like, cross them out as they went, and then, like, by the end, there was one left or something. So yeah, I don't know. Like I'm sure that I mean, it's someone's job to write these things. So I'm sure somewhere there's a collection.
Do you have a favorite insult over the years?
Zach Woods played my boyfriend Ed, and he told Jonah that he is like an early draft of a man, where it's a rough sketch. I'm going to paraphrase it, but it's like a rough sketch before they've put in any of the pigment or self-respect. It's brilliant.
So terrible.
I love it.
I'm gonna use that in someone.
It's amazing. It's amazing because when he's teasing
yeah,
it out,
everything, yeah,
you think it's going to be about
it.
his appearance,
Yeah.
but it's not. It's about his character. Oh, I love that.
It's too good.
It's great. Yeah.
Get into Amy and Dan's relationship. How do they stand out to you in kind of the world of iconic TV couples or relationships? Because also when you watch back the pilot, it's not too different from where it is now. I mean, a little bit, but just
No, she hates him.
Yeah.
She says from the very get-go, he's a shit, and
he's still a
he always
shit,
remains a shit. This has been her journey of figuring out how much shit she wants in her life.
yeah.
Really, I mean, that's the Amy arc.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
With Selena too, and with Government too, and all of it. It's just how much shit am I able to stand? Yeah, I think that if they believed in love, they would be in love, but they don't.
They don't believe in it now.
They don't believe in it. If they believed in love, they would have been in love. They're the closest I think either of them ever came. Does that make sense?
It does.
Without it sounding gross.
Close enough. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Which is also applicable.
Get into the last day on set, the last table read.
Yeah.
What were those emotions like, and what do you remember?
It was
Well, obviously, it wasn't that long ago.
No, it wasn't, but it was profound, and it was just beautiful to like all. I don't know. Everybody was crying, and I really am so grateful to everybody for being that like brave to show all of their emotions. You know, because we really got. I almost feel like we got like exponentially closer as a company in those last 2 weeks. Then the whole like we had the whole series, and then those last 2 weeks just doubled all of that. Yeah. You know, it was like in that condensed period of time. Like it was really, really profound and special because we just let it all hang out.
Lastly, what can you tease about the last, I guess, episode of what else is to come?
We somehow managed to bring things to a close while allowing plenty for the audience's imagination.
Will there be a flash forward? That's what I was thinking about. Because you...
Do I
Because Amy could be president if there's a flash forward.
I don't want to.
What happened?
You're going to read everything on my face.
I think there is. Flash forward to what's next for you is your upcoming film, Hala, which premiered at Sundance this year.
Yeah.
What excited you most about that project?
I loved the story. I loved how it was written. I thought... I really liked the role. I thought that she was a very complex role and told through the lens of the main character. We don't really get to know everything about her, and so therefore I got to fill in a lot of the individuality of this very kind of flawed person. For myself and have to see it from her point of view because it wasn't necessarily going to be written that way. Yeah. And I appreciated that there was room to do that. So I don't know. I felt it. I felt that story.
That's so great. I can't wait for people to see it.
Yeah.
In the meantime, don't miss a beep of Veep now on HBO.